This tonight's training session is the first of 3 training sessions that we will do on healing family relationships. Tonight's topic and training is going to be around, is forgiveness possible? I know that's a very intriguing question. When I posed that question to some of my social media friends and clients, I definitely had a wide range of responses. I've had responses, basically people have come out and said, no, they don't believe that that is possible, that there are things that have happened within their family dynamics, within certain relationships that to them feel unforgivable, it feels like they will never go beyond it. They will never move past. They will never be able to look at that person or have a desire to interact with them. So there was a wide range of like what no even meant to them. It's just like, no, it's unforgivable. No, it's not possible. And just plain no, I don't even want to try. And, or some of them have even said, no, I've tried to interact. I've tried to forgive. I've tried to let go. And up until this point, that hasn't been possible for me. Then I've had people respond where they're kind of in the middle row. They really aren't sure. They feel really stuck. They know that they, as of right now, they haven't been able to completely move forward, yet there was something that drew them to the question that they feel that there is something there, that there is a willingness to kind of see what is possible. And then on the other opposite end of the spectrum, I have people say, you know what, it absolutely is possible. They've given me their testimonials of difficult family relationships that they've had, that they've experienced, that they've been able to work through things either individually on their own or with the help and support of somebody else. And those relationships end up looking quite differently. Sometimes the person that you may be in disagreement with or in need of like forgiving or letting go of something that they've either said or done, they have either worked past that and they're able to have a relationship with that person where they communicate and they interact with one another and they have a relationship in that sense. And I've had other people where they feel that they have let go, they have forgiven, but they are also still choosing not to be in a relationship with that person. So I just want to preface this training session by saying there is a wide range of what is possible about forgiveness or with forgiveness. And I also want to give you a little tidbit about next week's training. It's going to be, what does forgiveness actually mean? What does forgiveness actually look like? So tonight's is a little bit more like on the surface, and we're going to get deeper with next week's training, but that's coming up next week. So for tonight, it's just, is it even possible? So I know my story, and the book that I'm currently writing is about my relationship with my father. So there definitely would have been a time where I would have said that is not possible, that it wouldn't be possible to work through the things that my father and I needed to work through to come out on the other side. I definitely would have said that. There were things that were said and done that were very harmful, very hurtful. I had a lack of respect, a lack of trust. All those things were broken in my relationship with my father. And I guess I can't really say for sure what sparked the desire in me or the will in me to want to work on that relationship, or, there's different ways we can word it. Some people say healing the relationship, letting go, forgiving, surrendering, moving forward. Again, there's a variety of ways that we can handle this type of situation. But there was definitely a moment for me where my experience of the relationship with my dad was causing me, I was experiencing personally so much anger, so much resentment, and there was a lot of heartache and a lot of pain. And what I was noticing is that it wasn't just when I thought about my dad or when I was around him. I was finding that was my experience a lot of the time. I was interacting with other people in other relationships in the same way that I was interacting with my father. And I just got to this point where it's like, I just don't want all this anger inside of me. I don't want this anger to be a part of my experience in my relationships. And I also felt that I didn't have to feel that this pain inside of me for the rest of my life. I knew I didn't want that. So I felt that starting with my relationship with my dad would help to release a lot of the anger inside of me that would definitely have a fake, or definitely would have an effect on other relationships. So that is definitely where I started. I just have somebody joining us here, so I'm just going to let them into our chat room and conversation, and I'll just put you on mute. So welcome. Thank you. Welcome to tonight's training session. So anyways, I began with my dad, and the reason that I wanted to was, I just didn't like the feeling inside of me. So I know a lot of you on the call tonight, and a lot of you that have already reached out to me, that is exactly where you're at. You don't know what the end result's going to look like, what that relationship with that person will ultimately be like. But you just know that the feeling inside of you and what it's causing you inside just doesn't feel like it's worth it anymore. And you really want to experience something differently. I had a client of mine come to me, and she was definitely experiencing a lot of heartache with her child. Actually, she was going through a parent-child relationship. It was an adult child who, in her words, she felt like he was projecting a lot of anger onto her, blaming her for a lot of things that he was experiencing. And she was really struggling with what that was making her feel like. Again, experiencing a lot of pain. Family get-togethers become very awkward. That is another common experience that I find with people that reach out. It's, just to have some peace at family gatherings or during holidays, or, just a desire that, maybe the relationship doesn't become some perfect rainbow type of relationship, but they just want to be able to be in the same room as somebody without feeling all this this weight on their shoulders, or being on edge. They're sharing that it causes a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety. And then the dynamic between those two people then has an effect on the rest of the family, because they're not sure what's going to happen when these two get together. Are they even going to want to be in the same room together? Is there going to be an argument? Is there going to be a blowout? So having that type of disgruntled relationship within a family member definitely has an effect on the rest of the family. So I know some people get to the point where they want to get to a point where they can just gather peacefully as a family. And again, it doesn't mean that they're not going to have disagreements, but they just want to be able to work through those types of conversations. One thing that I find people avoid the most when it comes to this type of thing is having a conversation. I can honor the fact that some people do not want to, or have struggled greatly even having a conversation, that the two people, they don't see eye to eye. So a conversation just turns into an argument. So they have nowhere to begin. So I want to give you 3 pointers tonight, a beginning point of where you can even start on the journey of healing a relationship with a family member. So the first thing that I would love for you to write down is, first of all, identify who is it that you need to forgive? Who is it that you have animosity towards, that you're always arguing, or every time you think of that person, it just causes a lot of grief and anger for you. And maybe there's more than one person. So first thing I want you to do is, who is it that you need to forgive, or that you have a grievance with? Because you might not even feel like you need to forgive them, but you can definitely identify that there's something between the two of you. So write down, maybe there's more than one person. So 1 or 2 family members that you have a grievance with. The second thing I want to ask you is, where is question number 2? I know I wrote it down. What is it that you need to forgive? So what is the action that they did that caused you angst or pain or suffering or heartache? Or what is the thing that they said? So identify and become clear in your own mind what it is that you feel this person did do, and not that you just feel it, but there was definitely something that happened that caused you a lot of pain and a lot of suffering and a lot of hurt. So identify what is that thing. What are those things? Are there more things? And what I find with people is once they start writing this out, it kind of sparks a little something in their memory, and they're just like, oh yeah, and then there was this, and then there was this. And I always find it helpful to get things down on paper rather than just letting it swirl and twirl in your mind. Get your grievances down on paper. Okay, remember, this is just a beginning place. This is just where we're going to start. So we're starting with who, and then we're going to what. What is it? What is your grievance? And get really clear on that so that what is it exactly that is bothering you? What is it exactly that they have said? What is your past memory? What is the thing that keeps coming back to your mind that person did that still, again, causes you to just tremble inside? That's a reoccurring memory that you have. Get it down on paper and get some clarity about that. And then number 3, I want you to write down what you feel gets in the way, what stands in the way of you being able to let go, to forgive, or move on. So this is like a more inner question, an inner searching question. What is it that you feel? And maybe it's something that the other person, maybe you've tried to make amends, maybe you've engaged in conversation and the other person doesn't want to. So you feel that what stands in the way of this relationship being, resolving grievances is that the other person won't even engage. Could be that as well. So again, these questions are just to help you gain clarity. Put it down on paper so that, again, it's just, you're not going over and over it in your mind. It helps when we put pen to paper, it helps to kind of slow the mind down even for just that little while and gain some clarity. And what I'd love for you to do is to bring those questions to next week's training so that we can actually dissect them a little bit, because we will be playing with, and I will be interacting with people on the call next week about what they wrote down. And then next week's topic I mentioned is, so tonight, we're talking about, is forgiveness even possible? So let's find out what that is, if that's possible. And next week, we're going to be talking about what is forgiveness. So now that you've got all of this written down, the who and what, it is, what is forgiveness? And what does that even look like? And what does that look like for you? And then how do we get there if that's something that you're wanting to do? So I am going to end our training session there tonight. So thank you for joining me for tonight's training session, and I hope that you are able to join me next week. What I'd love for you to do, if you feel inspired, is to send me the answers to the questions from tonight's training. Send them to me, and I would love to go over them with you. And if you would like a more in-depth look at some deeper insights into forgiveness and how that whole process works, I'd love for you to reach out, and I can send you an even more in-depth questionnaire for you to fill out to go even further into this. So again, thank you for joining me, and I will see you next week.